Welcome Red Devils United. Aashish.
Sagar.
Today we'll talk about United's defeat at the Emirates against Arsenal over the weekend. Arsenal beat us 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium, and Mikel Arteta has managed to show much more tactical news in his 2 weeks in charge at Arsenal than Ole has shown in an entire season at Old Trafford, with the summer transfer window included.
Yeah.
And that also brings us to a glaring hole in our squad that was exploited by Arsenal over the weekend, and that is our midfield. In the absence of Scott McTominay, who's been out injured, and Paul Pogba, who is either feigning injury or is actually injured, United has found it difficult to break down teams in the absence of creativity. And today, we've identified 4 transfer targets that Manchester United can look at for this transfer window in order to up their chances of achieving a top 4 and add some creativity and strength and depth to our spineless squad. And before we move ahead into each one of those 4 transfer targets, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to be notified of any new content that we come out with in the future. Now let's head into our discussion. Boom! Well, at the game at the Emirates, in the absence of Scott McTominay, Nemanja Matic and Fred started out as our midfield pairing. And for the first 8 minutes, United seemed to be playing like they've always played against some of the bigger teams in this Premier League season. But the next 82 minutes, what happened to that squad? I mean, Arsenal's aggressive high press started taking shape, and United was cut off.
Yeah.
I mean, forward players making runs, but the ball never found its way onto either of Rashford, Martial, or Daniel James. And Jesse Lingard seemed to be moving around like a headless chicken at that Emirates pitch on that day.
Yeah, it was a real surprise to see Lingard start in the first place. I don't see any reason why he should be starting, because he had like 0 goals and zero assists in whole of 2019.
That's really
yeah, it's just maybe that
incredible fact for an attacking midfielder.
Yeah, it's maybe he has a good record against Arsenal at Emirates, and that's why he got the start. But it's beyond me to see why and how Jesse Lingard is still having his place in the United squad. I completely understand that he has family issues and other issues in his personal life, but he definitely looks like a man who needs some break and some time off the game to get his act together and come back on the pitch stronger. But yeah, like you said, the game, we saw shades of Pep Guardiola in how Arsenal were performing, and that was expected given Mikel Arteta was his assistant. And we started off the game well in the early minutes, but then like you said, we faded off and couldn't catch up.
Yeah, Arsenal capitalized on their movement. I mean, Aubameyang was tracking back, and Kolasinac was overlapping on the right wing, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka frankly had his plate full with 2 players on him.
Right.
And that is something Pep also does, where in attack, City's teams, they play with inverted fullbacks, with one of the midfielders dropping back in a left back position to have three defenders at the back, and that's what Arsenal did. And that gave them a man advantage and cut off our chances of playing through the centre. And barring Fred, everyone else was just running around the pitch, and the game just went by them, and Fred cannot do everything on his own.
He has started like last 3 games and played the whole 90 minutes, so that amounts to almost 270 minutes of game time on the pitch with full intensity, and he runs around for the whole game. So that's we are going to see some effect on Fred for sure if he continues to play like this and does not get appropriate rest during this time. But the whole thing comes down to the fact that we do not have a midfield in our team, and that was again shown by the comments from Robin van Persie, who said that he saw the forwards making 10 to 15 good runs throughout the game. That's Rashford and Martial, who were trying to make things happen. trying to put Socrates and David Luiz under pressure. But
mind you, Arsenal's defense is
yeah.
one of the leakest defenses in this Premier League season. I mean, teams like Brighton,
they have
Burnley have found a way to score against them.
Yeah. So the fact that our midfield was not creative enough to find those runs and make those balls over the top was abysmal, and again it all boils down to the fact that we do not have a midfield.
If we can capitalize on some good player signings in this window, that will put us in a really good position come next season. You know, we talk about building for the future. The future is here already.
Yes.
And this is the time when we can bring in some players, you know, who can be bargain buys for us in like 2 or 3 years time and can help us capitalize on the current squad and build ahead for the future, add some experience, some potential. And, you know, we can get a squad that can compete for trophies or at least the top 4 starting next season. And even for this video, you know, we'll take a look at our 4 transfer targets that we've identified. 3 of them are British players who play in the Premier League, and 1 of them used to play in the Premier League and now plies his trade with the Italian champions Juventus. And the first player that we're looking at today is Aston Villa's star Jack Grealish. So the first transfer target that we're looking at today is Aston Villa's captain, their captain Marvel Jack Grealish, who was a rising young star in the English Premier League when he first played for Aston Villa. I think that was the 2014-15 season. But then Aston Villa got relegated, and Dean Smith had a chance to, you know, work around with his playing style and give him a more give him more freedom on the pitch and allow him to roam around and create chances. And that has given an attribute to Jack Grealish, which United's squad misses, and that's the ball carrying ability. Grealish is a dribbling playmaker, and he can carry the ball especially in the final third, and, you know, find that decisive pass that leads to a goal, or can find a goal himself. The goal that he scored against United, for example, was something that he created.
I think he went past like the whole midfield and the defenders and just
curled in the shot that went inside the goal. And that's something we miss in this United squad because we do not have a ball carrier. And, you know, whatever we saw against Arsenal, Matic, Fred and Lingard together could not string even one pass and lead the ball from defense onto the attack. And this is something that Jack Grealish can solve in the immediate moment. Now, Jack Grealish is being touted for £60 million by Aston Villa because he is their most prized asset, and if Aston Villa sell him, they are practically looking at a relegation starting now.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge challenge for them because I think today somewhere Dean Smith was quoted saying that Jack Grealish he is not for sale, and but I think every player has a price, right? So you can go in with a huge bid and maybe they will agree to it, given that they are in a relegation battle and they will need funds if they drop to the lower league. So for sure we can go for Grealish, but I don't think Grealish might be that player who like brings us he will create chances, he will score goals, no doubt, but I'm not sure. I do not see a player in him who will make this big step up to Manchester United and will stand up and rise to the occasion. He might like succumb under huge moments or huge occasions when we play in the Europa League semi-final or something. So I do not see Grealish to be a very good fit at Manchester United, but given the circumstances we are in at this moment, I would take anyone. So Grealish for sure.
Yeah, at least Grealish can fill in the gaps that we are seeing in the squad right now. And from now until the summer, you know, he can be a good investment because Grealish is still 25 years old. He still has his best years ahead of him. Well, if Jack Grealish is not the player that we can go out for, we have another playmaker on our list, and this guy has been a revelation at Leicester City under Brendan Rodgers, and he's James Maddison. Now, if Grealish was a dribbling playmaker, Maddison is more of a passing playmaker. He's a person who can ping in balls from the deep and find a player who eventually gets an assist for the goal scorer. And this is something he did really well against that thrashing of Southampton 9-0, where he found Harvey Barnes on 2 occasions, who assisted Jamie Vardy for for most of the Leicester City's
Right,
goals.
yeah.
And again, we're crying out for such a player at United who has that vision to find out players who can think about 2 or 3 or 4 different moves in advance and find the right pass. Because against Arsenal, Harry Maguire was free and did not see Marcus Rashford make a run into space, which would have seen him 1v1 versus the Arsenal goalkeeper, Bert Leno.
Yeah.
What do you think about the caliber of this player that we can go and get at?
James Maddison, I think he is someone who is very special and would fit at Manchester United perfectly, given that we need a ball-playing midfielder who finds those kill passes long. He can also drive those long balls to the left or the right wing to cross the ball into the box. So for sure, he is one player who I am really interested in and would love to have at Manchester United. But given that we are in the January transfer window, which is kind of a shorter version of what we have, I don't see Maddison as a possibility at this moment. So maybe in the summer window, I would go all guns blazing against him and try and lure him out of Leicester. And given that Leicester are second at this moment and we are nowhere close to the top 4, I don't see any point why Maddison would prefer coming to Manchester United.
Well, yeah, Maddison's definitely in the better place at Leicester City.
Yeah.
Finishing in the Champions League.
As Harry Maguire.
Yeah. But he's definitely a player worth looking at, and if the United board can go for him, I'd be happy to see him in our squad, because he is a huge step up from all the other players that we have currently.
Yeah.
Now we look at third transfer target, and this is one player that Oliver Solskjaer was really going after in the summer transfer window until Newcastle bumped his price to £50 million. And this guy is no other than Sean Longstaff, who is more of a grafter, but a classier version of Fred, I would say. He has an eye for a goal, he's deep lying, and can also ping decisive passes through the centre and find players in goal scoring positions. He's young, just 21, had a breakout season last year, especially in the game against Manchester City, where he troubled Pep's creative players. And Pep also acknowledged in the post-match conference that Newcastle's holding midfielders did a really good job on him, and that got our attention onto Sean Longstaff, even though Matty Longstaff's been the one doing most of the damage against United.
Yeah. I think he would be a good replacement, given that McTominay is injured for two months or something like that. So yeah, for sure, he would be a good replacement. But again, it's going to be a huge step up for him to Manchester United. And given that he is playing at Newcastle, and this season he has not had like a breakthrough season or like a sensational season or something, but he would be a good fit, and that would be more like having 2 Freds on the pitch, where we play a double pivot and have 2 energetic midfielders who are trying to win the ball from the opposition. But again, at this moment in time, we lack a creative midfielder, not a tenacious or an energetic midfielder. So a creative midfielder is the one which we should be going for at this moment, and not a player like Sean Longstaff. And honestly, I don't understand the obsession of Oli with Sean Longstaff. I don't know what he saw in him, or
I think he's a Michael Carrick recommendation, because Carrick came out of Newcastle.
Yeah, he has good
as
links
well.
with Newcastle.
And Sean Longstaff maybe fits the bill for the future. If Fred doesn't perform, or Fred's out injured, or McTominay is out injured, Sean Longstaff will add value in that position. Given that we're playing 4-2-3-1 anyways, and since Scott McTominay is out for
some time,
for 8 weeks now, and Fred also needs rest, we really need to go out and get a player. And this player looks like a viable option at the moment, because any club outside of Newcastle will be a step up for him. And at United, he'll definitely get chances, because Ole is so smothered by, so in awe of Sean Longstaff at the moment. And for £50 million, again, that's a British tax. British clubs have to pay for British players. And given that it's United, we definitely have to, pay a lot more than other clubs would have to pay, because frankly speaking, this situation is of our own making, where in the summer we sold or we let go of a lot of midfielders without replacing even a single one of them, banking all of our money on Paul Pogba, who's had an ankle surgery now after his recent troubles. And frankly speaking, I don't see him coming back into this United squad now until the end of the season. So we really do need players. But now let's turn our heads out of England for a moment and let's look at this player who's not English for a change.
Yeah.
You know, I feel
Someone
happy
in the
speaking about
European market, right?
someone who's not English. This guy, he played for one of our one of our primary rivals in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He played under Brendan Rodgers, he played under Jurgen Klopp, and he moved out of Liverpool in order to give himself the most chance of winning a Champions League, but missed out on it. This guy is Emre Can.
Yeah.
Well, this guy is Emre Can. Emre Can, still 25, finds himself surplus to requirements at Juventus, who has a lot of people in that midfield at the moment, and even Adrian Rabiot finds himself out of favour at the moment in the squad. But Emre Can seems to be a very low cost, a very cost effective signing in this transfer window if we manage to get him. Premier League proven and also used to, that high pressing style. Because he's played under Jurgen Klopp.
He basically ticks all the boxes. Like, he is Premier League proven. He is on basically the younger side of 25. He is 25, I guess. And he is energetic. He finds the passes. He can play in multiple different roles whenever as per requirement. He is not that expensive, and the only reason why that is the case is because he is not British. And we should be looking at these kind of players to bring in and strengthen our squad at this moment, because this looks like a signing which can be done in January and can be done pretty quick, and he can come into the squad and gel pretty fast than what we are looking at this moment. But for sure, I would be looking at Emre Can and trying to get him. No, I don't care if he played for Liverpool or he played against us at some point in time. I don't care. We need midfielders at this moment, and he can be a good fit for us.
And definitely, he's an upgrade over Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff is still 21 years old.
Right.
He does not have a complete Premier League season under his belt, whereas Emre Can played in the Premier League for 3 seasons, I think, before he made a move to Juventus.
And he has played under Jurgen Klopp's high press system as well, so he knows how to get about it, and he will be a good fit for us.
Yeah, he's proven Premier League quality player, and he's experienced enough. He's played for Germany at the highest of levels, and these are the players that we should be looking at. They're not British, but they have more experience, and they are economical.
Right. I mean, it should be around 20 to 30 million pounds.
Yeah, because Juventus has done themselves no favor by making it clear that they want to let go of the player. So it makes it even easier for us to go out and get him. And Ole taking his guns out for Sean Longstaff is perplexing for me. I mean, he should look at that squad and be like, man, I should get any player that I can get my hands on who can fill that big gap in our midfield.
I know a lot of Liverpool fans have been saying that he was kind of not up to the mark, which is the reason why Klopp let him go. But at this moment, what we have in our squad, I think he is much better than Matic. Or
way better than Matic.
Pereira.
Even this pencil of mine can do a better job on the field, than Matic.
Or Pereira or Mata, who is way past it at this moment. So Emre Can for sure. That's, I think, a no-brainer for if Ole has been thinking about it. That should be a no-brainer, and they should be getting and making this happen.
Well, Red Devils United, those are the 4 transfer targets that we saw, and we feel that Emre Can is one of the most economical, the most experienced, and the most important target that we should be looking at right now, who can come in and fit into a squad straight away and start playing for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But before we move ahead, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to be notified of all future videos that we come up with. And in the comment section below, let us know what players you want to see at United. What do you think about Ole? What do you think about Ed Woodward?
Let us know
and
if
then the
you
board.
have any identified any other European
Yeah.
players maybe who might be an option for us.
Yeah, and we'll be covering even more players, given that this is the transfer month, and a lot of players are coming up for grabs because a lot of clubs are out looking for players. Not just us, but Arsenal, Chelsea, City. They're also looking to strengthen themselves in some of the areas, especially Arsenal. Who's doing a better job at attracting players than us, and I feel they might just go ahead and get a midfield player before we go out and even bid for one. But let's see what happens. Until next time, Red Devils United. Ta-da!
Make sure you subscribe to the channel and also press the bell icon to stay updated on all the latest happenings regarding Manchester United.